And your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why?
22 million dollars in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
All right, GM guys, messed up the pre-show a little bit there, but that's okay. We're out here.
It's all good. It's all good. We're live. We're ready. We're in there. GM to everyone. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. Man, things are looking good here, Josh. Things are looking good.
Yeah. Yo, my DLMs right now are absolutely just printing fees right now. We're printing fees.
So me and Crime, we had our call yesterday. He ended up live streaming our call. Had an awesome call on that live stream, and I literally did the trade on their stream, and I'm coming to report on the gains on our stream. So if you guys, I actually have a nice strategy that I've been thinking about. So I'll share that with you guys. But man, dude, it is things are looking good, man. Things are looking good.
Yeah.
Onchain, majors are looking good. Not gonna lie though, kind of concerning a little bit, if you ask me. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet, but I am enjoying the green candles.
Give me that Kool-Aid. I don't care anymore. I've already experienced pain. I know what pain feels like. But yeah, guys, really interesting chats today. I gotta do the quote tweet. So I don't know, Chill, if maybe you want to
Yep.
get some charts
Got
open
you.
and warm us up a little bit. And then on the DLM segment, I'll recap some of my trades here so you guys can see them.
Got you. Got you. All right, let me do this. Bang. All right, guys. So
And whatever you
see it.
guys do, make sure you're trading on Trojan. Okay. The best terminal on Solana, the best cashback, trojan.com @MCG. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Yep. So trade on Trojan, guys. Trade on Trojan up to 50% cash back. Definitely want to do that. All right, so let's jump into charts, y'all. Bitcoin 77.4K. Boom. I mean, let's just go down a little bit to some lower time frames.
What's up, boys?
These green candles. Big homie Dom. What's good?
Let's go. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too, bro. Me and Josh deep in that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, give me that
Come on,
Kool-Aid.
bro.
I don't even care, bro.
I've been saying
Let's go.
I've been saying it.
Let's go. All right, guys. So here's a little bit on show structure today. So we have 2 interviews coming up. In 10 minutes, we have our first interview with Adam from Phantom, and we'll be talking with him a little bit. So excited for that conversation. Then we'll talk with Crime. Crime XBT, you guys know him from the DLMM segment we did with Meteora a few weeks back. So he'll be back on the show. He'll probably end up starting to come back every so often, so we can all deal him together. And so we'll do a quick check-in on the 5 to 50 soul challenge as well through the delimbing on Meteora. So first, before we get the interview started in 10 minutes, we're going to go through a little bit of macro, talk majors, what's happening in markets right now, and boy, you see it. Boy, you see it. These candles are going crazy. All right, so let's just zoom out a little bit. Zoom out. I mean, the daily looks absolutely beautiful. But here's where I get concerned. So obviously love the green candles, right? Obviously love the green candles. Onchain is popping off. We've talked about the pre-show today was going to actually be the Printr segment. Because the printer ecosystem is just absolutely going nuts. Their main token is going crazy. Some on-chain plays are going crazy as well. Last night, a buddy of mine, he went from $200 to 32K in 2 plays in under 3 hours. So on-chain is indeed back, ladies and gentlemen. The opportunities are here. But here's the context. Here's the market context with Bitcoin. We're at 77.6K. They heard MCG was live and decided to pump Bitcoin a little bit for us. So appreciate y'all. I spoke with Sailor before the stream started. Naturally, to
He's
put
just
the
pouring
twop.
a few bill in the chart right now.
Just a little something light. So we got 77.6K on Bitcoin here. Here's where I get a little concerned though. We covered this, I believe it was on Wednesday or no, Tuesday. I was on last on stream on Tuesday. 80K. We're running into this resistance, right? So here we have oops, let me do this. Here we have 80K coming in, and so we're coming into this resistance area here, so we need to be very, very careful. I know the timeline is bullish. Everyone is calling for a new bull market. Everyone is calling for higher prices, justifiably so because of how things have gone. But this isn't the area to get max bullish. The area to get max bullish was down here, and we are far removed from those price actions. This is the area you want to be max bullish in, not up here. Right? So that's something to be aware of here as we
can I even pull something up from back in that area, because I feel like we talked, or at least I talked a bit about this being an area of interest. Just gonna drive through the thesis real quick, kind of give the yin and yang to the position here. I know, Chill, you're not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm licking that puppy up all day. I've been just gobbling that Kool-Aid. So maybe I could share a little thesis as to why we could add let's go some context. All right. All right, here's a tweet I put out. I'm pretty much going to verbatim read this, but that's about the range Chill just highlighted. But this was the thesis. Of course, we had a bit of an unwind back here where we saw this big spike of volume. I believe it's February like 5th or 6th when we saw this. And it was clearly a capitulation. Someone went under. Something happened here. Nonetheless, we had gotten to interesting range. And so I'm going to run through the thesis of what I was looking at back then and what I see developing here and has since developed very nicely. I said Bitcoin's back at prices last seen August of 2024. Strong hands clearly built a position over a 200-day period at this level and have been patiently waiting to revisit this. And the reason I say 200-day position is if you actually look back into this blue box I have marked out, it was the last time we really got a meaningful accumulation with big sweeps to both sides, capitulations, and smart money institutions accumulating. You could see it in the chart. Bitcoin's realized price, which is the average price per buyer, is around this level as well, which means and miner profitability is also below that. So this point is relatively undervalued if you're just looking at the averaged realized price of the average buyer, as well as miner profitability. We're coming to that zone where we know once it gets unprofitable for miners, we're typically nearing that bottom area. So kind of moving down the thesis as well. Ideally, we spent some time above 74K before moving back into the zone. We're seeing good strength here. And the more time we spend at this range highs, the more convinced I become that 60K was the final capitulation. Every cycle we have front ran the previous top and bottom in terms of time and price. Good RR trade if we get back in the range after some time above 70K. So basically, was calling for anything back in the range is probably a long for me. And, that was kind of the thesis. Of course, when I say every cycle is front running the previous cycle, if you look at the 4-year cycle, whether you subscribe to this or not, each 4-year cycle, the top is, well, of course, shrinking. The moves, I guess you could say, the spread, and then the lows are getting priced in about a month prior to the previous low every single time. If you look at it, same with the tops and bottoms are getting priced in a little bit before each time. People are front running the market, and we know the market is forward looking. So we saw that happen. So my thesis was capitulation here, vertical accumulation, not a type 1. If you want to look into Wyckoff and how these institutions accumulate, more of a type 2, and we're kind of breaking out. I think this is a strong breakout. If this candle closes anywhere above the 77 range, even 78 range, significantly above the zone, I think we're long and strong here. So I'm getting confident. I know some people are looking at the order flow, which is bearish, kind of, marking up this trend line here, and they're looking for rejections. There's EMAs that they still need to break to the upside. You just have to understand, by the time we get past like 98K or break some EMAs to the downside, like you're already, you've missed so much of the move. So I'm not saying you can bottom tick every time or we're here to bottom tick, but the price action is giving us signs. So we'll let Chill get back to it there.
I got a little, I have to, because I mentioned this in April also, is these are the EMAs that Jones Rida put on my radar. And they've actually also just flipped. We got the crossover at around 70K here, and now it's looking kind of strong. So, if we've broken out above them, then we've retested, gone below and rejected off them. We've rejected, and then here's another break. So keep an eye on these. These were, again, Jones Rida really, really put me on these ones. But, hey, guys, look at hype, just riding the EMAs. Boom, bounce. Really love that trade. Also called out Galaxy back in April here around the $17 mark. It is up 60% since. So, yeah, there it is.
Look, we do it all. Crypto, stocks, macro, majors, on-chain, prediction markets. Look, guys, we just do it all. I don't know what else to say.
Dude,
Alpha is here.
Wait till you flip this chart to equities, bro. Oh my goodness. The equities market, the
Dude,
the S&P, the Dow Jones, and NASDAQ could not be. Those things are ripping. It's like the pump is insane.
Just to close out the Bitcoin segment, and we'll get to our interview here in 2 minutes. I'm looking for a rejection here, looking for signs of rejection. I told you guys that above this red line here, above 71K, looking for signs of rejection. below 70 or below 65.6, looking for reversal, right? So I'm looking for signs. One thing is I'm looking at this 3-day close, seeing if we get a 3-day sweep of this high. If we close this below like 76K, that's a sign of rejection there. And now I'll be looking for other signs on a higher time frame on the weekly. We're also, oh wow, we've broken through the 1 week FVG. So this could turn
Slice that bad boy up. Let's go.
So let's see how this weekly closes. And we'll see if this even turns into an area of support here. This FEG that was initially bearish because we tested it a few times on a high time frame, but now could potentially turn bullish. So keeping an eye on that. But again, looking for signs of rejection. If I don't get any, then look, we're off the Dom's thesis, but for now, still being, very, very cautious at these levels. But let's look real quick before we start. Look at this S&P chart.
I mean, what a
moly.
bounce. I don't know if I've ever this looks like
is
more of a bounce than we
crazy.
got from COVID, dude. Like
All
this
the
looks like more of a
equities,
bounce we got
guys,
from
all
the
the
stimulus
equity chads
checks.
are up.
Holy
Jesus
cow.
I think so.
Christ.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Is
what's
that a
so-
500K? Is that 500K trencher right there? Oh wait, no, that's
the meme coin
Oh,
stocks.
yeah,
are
the
that's
being-
S&P.
that's the new launch. That's the new launch on Printr, I think.
Oh
wait
my
a minute.
goodness.
No,
Even
these are the largest traded assets in the world. Okay. Got it.
just trading like meme coins, nothing crazy. Wow, look at that. Jeez.
Oh my goodness, what is?
Can you
That
walk
is-
me back to
Is that another
2020?
green box?
Oh my
Did
god.
we
yeah,
just
that
tag
is
another
quick.
another chill green box? Just
Chill
saying.
green
just
boxes
saying.
are unmatched.
Yo,
Look at the hood, Robin Hood green box, because that one was one that Dom had. But yeah, we're at 12 by the way. So let's pull Adam up here and
Okay,
we can move on here.
let's do it.
All right, let's
do it.
get the man, the myth, the legend himself. Adjust screen here. Oh, we haven't done this kind of view here. There we go. Adam, welcome to the
what's
show.
up, y'all? Thanks for having me. I kind of
Well, we're
feel
doing-
bad interrupting all this alpha going down. You guys are getting me hype.
Dude, well, are you a TA guy or not so much?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I could feel it. I could feel
Oh.
the vibe.
Yeah, it's in the giblets right now. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Also,
I
Well,
could
Adam,
remove him
welcome
from
to
the
the show,
stage.
man.
He's not even supposed to be on
I'm
today.
so
I don't
sorry.
even know
No,
who
it's
this
good.
guy is.
It just took me a few seconds to process. I was like, oh
Yeah,
yeah. for sure.
yeah.
Oh, you got rid of him. He's gone.
Yeah, gone.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
Oh man,
Yeah,
no,
great
Adam, welcome
be
to
here.
the
Thanks for
show,
having me
man.
on.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a few of your tweets on the timeline. We interacted a little bit. I saw that you were one of the judges at the Coliseum Hackathon as well. So figured this would be a really good conversation to have, just to kind of get the inside scoop on or kind of a look inside the hackathon, like what's kind of catching your eye, things of that nature. So we'll run through all of that stuff. But a lot of times with these interviews, we really love to start off with the man on camera. Who is Adam? What's your background? Give us the rundown there.
Oh man, we only got 30 minutes, huh? I'm just kidding. I guess what I'll start with is I've been in startups tech for a long time. I've worked at Braintree with Mr. Don't Die himself, Brian Johnson. I worked with him. I worked at Apple. I've worked at some startups didn't go so well, and I worked at enterprise companies. And past few years I've been at Phantom, but before that I was kind of early in the Solana community. I just happened to spot a Totally podcast episode, a really early one, and it sounded legit after kind of being disappointed by Ethereum and all that stuff, like what you could do on it. And then once the community spun up, I just started helping builders. We'd host tutorials on Rust, Solana programming, all that stuff like that. And then a few years ago, something came up with Phantom that matched my skill set, and that's where I'm at now, just helping builders, with any problems they have building on Phantom, any issues, and then just anything we can do to help, beyond building, right? Can we give feedback? Can we give guidance on navigating building in Solana and crypto at large.
Awesome, awesome. So you mentioned that you were sort of disappointed with the experience on Ethereum. I wanted to
Mm,
just kind of zoom in there. That's a little bit of a common story with a lot of the community on Solana and on especially if they're coming from Ethereum. What did that look like for you? What really attracted you to Solana and the ecosystem?
yeah, I think it was like 2016 or 2017. I was just kind of exploring Ethereum after seeing it on Hacker News, and the company I was at the time was a small startup doing like uh, diplomas on the blockchain, and so I was getting to learn about Ethereum more. And then like CryptoKitties dropped. I was like, oh, this is cool. But then as soon as like it popped, like it just made the chain basically unusable. And I was like, there's not a lot of people like using this right now, and this is I don't understand how this is supposed to like serve everyone, right? Like that was the vision, the world computer, and so it didn't make sense for me. So I kind of just like held Bitcoin, learned a little bit more about Bitcoin. Never really was a maxi, and I was kind of turned off by a lot of the maxi attitude. And then yeah, at some point, Kevin Rose hosted Totally on a podcast that I don't think you can find the episode anymore because I've looked for it. Um, and I was just like, this guy doesn't sound like a scammer. He sounds like I'm not a computer engineer, but he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And so I just kind of followed and got involved on Twitter, now X. And then yeah, it's just been fun ever since.
Awesome, awesome. So you're here now. You're in Solana. You're working at Phantom. Talk to us a little bit about that's that side of things. What are you doing for Phantom exactly? I think you touched on it a little bit. But how did that all lead to being a judge at the Coliseum Hackathon?
Yeah. So I mean, really, my initiative at Phantom is to make sure building with Phantom is as easy as possible, and make sure apps can come and have access to the Phantom user base, and our users, more importantly, can access all the cool apps that get built. And kind of our team, we're looking at like what's a way we can really support builders out there, and the Coliseum team's been killing it for a long time with their hackathon, and both the teams they incubate. And so we decided to partner up. So we're sponsoring the hackathon, and part of that is I'm a judge now. It was kind of a surprise when the announcement went out to see my face on the website. I didn't even know it was happening.
No
But here
way.
we are. Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun, engaging with the builder community on that level. A lot of them reaching out. I'm a little swamped on my DM. So all the builders if there's any builders out there watching, I'm sorry. I'll get back to you as soon as I can on your DMs and try to get some feedback. But we're also hosting events in the Discord. So if you're a builder listening to this and you're planning on submitting, please do jump in the Discord. We're gonna have some events where we kind of give feedback and talk about what Phantom has to offer for builders.
And I'm curious what you're seeing kind of emerge right now from these builders and like what's getting you most excited. You said your DMs are flooded, so I'm sure you're seeing all the entire spectrum of what's kind of being built and iterated on inside of crypto. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. Like, what's exciting you?
Yeah, I think what's exciting me is the numbers of people building. Obviously, this is really helped out by vibe coding and the AI assisted tools. It makes it a lot more accessible for anyone to just jump in and start building, which is great. What I see a lot of is kind of building on these primitives that have really formed over the last cycle or two, prediction markets, market making, obviously trading. People are always excited about new ways to swap and things like that. I think for me, what excites me most is like really cool new, like maybe you call them DeFi primitives or market primitives, things like we've seen the rise of Futarchy over the past couple of years. I think decision markets are really cool, have a lot of potential. I really want to see more people build in that space. And then, yeah, those things are really the most exciting for me. I think because like they're so core to what blockchain does. There's a lot of things we can build on top of it, but the more of those like kind of core pieces, whether it's an efficient swap, whether it's a new market shape, whether it's a prediction market, whether it's a new way for market makers to provide liquidity. These are the things that are like the base level where all these other cool things we see can be built upon. Things like pump, things like MetaDAO, things like Jupiter aggregating all these
Meteora.
Meteora, yes, Meteora, of course. Yeah. So I really like the primitive stuff, but it's really exciting to see the evolution of prediction markets. Everyone's taking their own slice at it, and that's kind of what we need to find out what really works and what really gets people excited.
How's Phantom specifically looking at prediction markets? Like when you guys think about these, are you planning to integrate them in a big way into Phantom or get ahead of them?
I can't get too specific on anything that's unannounced. I would just say just keep an eye on Phantom Main. Like that's where you get the alpha. And there's so much going on in Phantom. It's really hard for me to keep up with everything. So yeah, I'm really focused on the builder side. But anything that our users are excited about, Phantom's going to work on making sure our users have access to it.
Awesome. So talk to us a little bit about the Coliseum hackathon. What is it? Who can come and build in the hackathon, and talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Coliseum hackathon spun out of Solana Foundation. I think you can probably ascribe a lot of the success of the Solana ecosystem to these hackathons that happened very early on. They engaged the builder community in a way that no crypto like blockchain had really done before. There's certainly been hackathons before sponsored by L1s, but the way they were able to build excitement about building and build like really camaraderie also between the different teams that are building, I think was pivotal. And so Coliseum was kind of spun out into his own thing out of the Solana Foundation by the guys that ran it. And now it's been going on for a few years, and I think the schedule is currently 2 a year, where you can come through this sprint of like 6 weeks and build and submit. You have the opportunity, one, to like win some of the prizes available. This hackathon, you'll win that prize in Phantom stablecoin cash, ticker cash. And you also have the opportunity to be incubated by the Coliseum team. And you also have the opportunity to be put in front of investors. So if any of those things sound attractive to you, you should definitely enter, because anyone can do it. And I think what's really cool too that we see in Coliseum is there's people that want to build stuff, and they just use the period for like boundaries, right? It's very easy to be distracted being in the space. So I think having these boundaries of 6 weeks, like, hey, I got to get something done by 6 weeks, is a really good practice if you're an early builder and want to build up that discipline of building. But yeah, I'd say if you have an idea, drop it into Claude, drop it into ChatGPT, see what comes out. And if you're excited about it and think you can find users for it, go do it. The worst thing that can happen is nothing. Nothing bad can happen. You'll find your users, and if they want to use you, they will use you, and they'll give you feedback, and you'll get better. And then it's just a series of obstacles. You have an issue comes up, a problem, and then you figure out a way around it. And that's what startups are.
So Adam, I see you have Angel in your Twitter bio here. Half the battles is a great product. Half the battles being just the founder that's right for that product and getting it out there and getting that distribution. How do you look at founders when it comes to picking the right ones that you maybe personally put angel checks into?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm doing personal investments, I really look for like conviction and a founder that kind of sees something that I don't, and then can help me see it. And then you also want some amount of like some way to like determine if they feel like they're up for this challenge, because it is a challenge. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you're early into a new trend. It's always hard, and so you need to make sure that you're really up for it. So those are kind of the main things I look for. But I think there's also like something that's really hard to articulate. I think I saw that kind of in Tolly early on. Like, he was like really an amazing founder. I thought the way he could inspire builders was really impressive, in addition to like his technical skill and the way he could lead his team. I think Profit's a really great leader, really great founder.
Great founder.
Yeah. I had the really lucky opportunity to meet Brian Johnson early on. He was an amazing founder. He's going on to do his Blueprint stuff, which is really impressive. And so I think for me individually, there's a certain amount of pattern matching of just like trying to see if this person has it, and then if the thing that they're going after is like interesting enough and compelling. And I'm also kind of like picky. There's a lot. I think I see a lot of ideas that are like, oh yeah, this could work, but I want to see new things. I want to see new things like Futarchy. You know, I want to see new things like on-chain hedge funds in ways that we haven't seen before. You know, I want to see these things that unlock new opportunities. Like, you know, I think I feel a little relatively late to like the OpenClaw Hermes agent thing, as in I just got in a couple months. But you know, those are the type of things I think that are really exciting to me.
Is there anything you feel early on? Like I would agree. I think we're a little late at this point on the OpenClaw thing. And is there anything you're seeing right now starting to percolate where it's like, wait a minute, this like I have that conviction. Someone's been able to tell me this story, and I believe I understand it. Like you just mentioned, you want a founder that can kind of convince you of something and make you understand it in a meaningful way. Is there something you're seeing right now that you could mention, or not really?
No, yeah. I mean, I think Futarchy is still very early. I think I've had the fortune to be able to spend a couple years thinking about it, and I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of idea space to be explored, not just with MetaDAO and the existing other people have implemented. I think this is like world-changing technology, possibly. I think also like the AI space is really hard because everyone's in on it now, so it's really hard to be early. But I think there's some combinations that are interesting. I think DAOs are going to make a comeback if we can really wire up agents and AI to these things, to where these things actually become truly autonomous. That's really exciting to me. Like, I think it's cool, the idea of like, you know, a bunch of agents running an organization that generates profit that can be guided maybe by Futarchy or by some other governance mechanism. Those are the type of things I'm really excited about and would love to see more people explore. Yeah, that's kind of what comes off the top of my head. Yeah.
So, do you have another one on that, Dom?
No, I was just going to reinforce that. Futarchy's exciting stuff. I mean, we talked even the other day with Realms DAO and how they're kind of using a bit of Futarchy in their like this new treasury management system they're looking at. It's just like it's one of many ways Futarchy can really be used and leveraged.
I have a question on this, if you guys don't mind. I wanted, because we've talked a lot about on the show, like a little bit of history of the shows. A year ago, Believe popped up, and we built this show around seeing startups like Dupe come on chain and do tokens, ones that we thought we'd never see before. And here they were. And at the time, like the only thing to trade was really Pump Fund and then maybe perpetuals then. And so we wanted something fresh. Believe felt it was fresh. But the tokens had fundamental problems with them, which is they were all on a bonding curve. Some of them were highly bundled, highly botted, highly, just kind of parasitic behavior from a market structure standpoint. And then we were really early to MetaDAO. I mean, we covered Avicii when it was pre-ICO and said, hey, this is an interesting project. Ram hopped on the show. Next thing you know, MetaDAO released Avicii and it went to 100 million and everyone's like, okay, ownership tokens are like the next big thing, right? And people had like ICM as this category and whatnot. And so maybe just in your opinion, like what we talk about having better tokens, and I don't know if like you can maybe say from your opinion, like what the tokens were on Solana before to kind of what green shoots. You talked about MetaDAO and Futarchy is one of them, but what makes good tokens?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I feel comfortable like definitively speaking to that, but I would say
high level, like your feel and vibe on these tokens that we have in the market.
Yeah, well, I think that one, like we've had a lot of bad examples both in Ethereum and in Solana, right? So I think that's what we kind of build our thesis on, is like what are these things that have already failed and how? I think like, yeah, the new ownership narrative beyond, even just beyond Futarchy is really compelling. I feel strongly that eventually the primary place to raise funds for really big initiatives is going to be on chain. Like I think it's going to be harder for VC over time to compete with on-chain fundraising. And I love the fact that there are many teams attacking this problem. So yeah, I think things where the wisdom of the crowd can be truly expressed through the token to inform whatever the initiative is, I think that is the ideal state of tokens.
Really quick on this as well. And it seems like everyone's trying to iterate. Is Futarchy the answer? Is, stuffing equity in an SPV the answer? I mean, we even saw the other day something that I thought was really, really interesting. Pop Punk
Crafts.
and this Pump K thing. Crafts is very interesting as
Mhm.
well. But like, is bringing equity on chain moving backwards in your opinion? Like, we have blockchain, we have this really cool technology, we have stuff like Futarchy where everyone can kind of be decision makers. But then it also is like, okay, well, I don't want to have a bunch of random degens kind of deciding what my business does. And we've seen some of the issues coming with that. Like they just raised a bunch of capital. Now it goes into buybacks. I don't know. Is equity structure coming on chain moving backwards, or do we think that's like steps in the right direction?
I think right now all iteration is good. I think these markets need to mature. The investors, the traders, they all need to mature. So we're going to see really violent behavior, and I think we're going to see actions that we don't think are great, happen in these markets. But I think it's all part of the growing pains. Like progress is never a straight line, right? And I think whether it's equity or ownership or governance, the more experimentation at this point is the better. And we still have, I think, years of this before like it's truly optimized. But I'm very excited, and I think what's most exciting about this is everyone continues to have access to it. I hope we can maintain that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and just even seeing these pre-IPO stocks do so well and bring so much attention. I mean, we saw this new integration with the tickers on X already drive $1 billion in volume, something we'll cover later in the show. But Craft is really cool. And I want to talk about this a bit too, because the other day we saw Pumpcade, who's been very hot, I'm sure you've seen them, kind of released
Mhm.
this ACE mechanism. And it's an ACE round. And what it is, okay, convert tokens into a safe agreement. And when we get a priced round, your tokens are converted from the safe to equity, just like safe normally works. But I think this is really interesting. It's like, hey, we are opening up the gates. We're taking 25% of token supply if you want to convert it. And in exchange, you'll get 10% equity in the company, which will be safe notes converted at price rounds. I thought this was really interesting because it kind of gives like a weird arbitrage on the market to where, okay, we know Pumpcade raised an equity round. I think they raised 5 million. Unclear what the valuation was, but we
Mhm.
now know if the token goes down below a certain threshold, call it 10 million market cap, excuse me, there's a 2.5 multiplier on that. Well, now there's kind of like this arbitrage opportunity where, okay, I can actually convert into real equity in the company and get it at more of like a 25 million valuation when it's likely they raise much higher. And so it kind of sets this floor if you're willing to exchange your liquid tokens for illiquid tokens, and then the liquid marketplace kind of trades at a premium because of the liquid value that it brings. Any thoughts on this? I thought it was very interesting and just like a good iteration in the right direction.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up. I hadn't looked at this yet. I certainly was aware of Pumpkin, but I hadn't looked at this specific article. I think, yeah, it's really interesting. That's kind of going the other direction, right? If I'm understanding correctly, it's going from tokens to potential equity,
Yes.
which is very cool. But yeah, I think, I think this is great. Giving more users access to pre-IPO equity is great if it can be done. But to me, ultimately, the game is, the other way, right? Like keeping all this stuff on chain, whether it's like equity turning into tokens or like Coliseum has a similar structure to Safe. I forgot what it's called, where you can get some pre-seed funding and then it can get converted into like an ownership coin governed by Futarchy. But I think what's awesome really to see, whether it happens through like legal enforcement, through traditional equity or like on-chain enforcement via Futarchy, having holders and traders have downside protection is an amazing innovation, and we need more of that. That way, one, it obviously like gives investors a recourse when things go sideways in the very wrong way. But also it just instills confidence and there's like a floor here, like, there's something that I'm buying in that's actually tied to something versus like a meme or whatever else it is. Which, if you want to trade memes, great. But I personally I like holding things that are tied to something that I can really believe in, and get excited about.
Absolutely.
Question for you. And so you mentioned meme coins, and we're very much the same view as you, right? We like to buy and hold things that are meaningful. We like to bet on teams that are innovating and doing, even if it's an experiment. I feel like crypto is that place where people can kind of come to and try new things. And we've seen so many people do that, from fundraising to futarki to AI agents and the whole lot. But I do love me a meme coin. I wanted to
Mhm.
ask you this question. Do you think meme coins are bad for the space?
No, I mean, I don't. I mean, any time I've tried to trade meme coins, I pretty much always lose money. But I don't think they're bad for the space. I think they inevitably have negative consequences, like anything does. But I think that they're like meme coins have done a lot to help build out the infrastructure necessary to really support the more serious assets. And so, yeah, it's frustrating that people have lost money. It's frustrating that we've seen rugs. All that sucks. But I think, in my opinion, it's a net positive in what it's brought to this space.
I wanted to ask maybe a little bit, and to the extent that you can talk about your role at Phantom. Like, I don't think many people, myself included, even know who is behind Phantom, the story of how it started, like all the things that Phantom does and touches. And it's, obviously we know it's a wallet, but like, how much volume does Phantom do? Like, what is Phantom? I really don't know much about it. So yes, it's been on my thing. I used to use MetaMask, but now I think Phantom is, taken over. They've got Hyperliquid perps in there. There's, different chains and whatnot. To the extent again that you can talk about it, can you give us just the lowdown on Phantom itself?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little careful about what I say, just
Of
because
course, yeah.
so much of this is outside of my
But even
scope
like
as
the
well.
history, like let's
Yeah,
just give people, how did it start? Who started it? Yeah,
for
where
sure.
is it at now? Any numbers that are public?
Yeah. So Phantom started early on. Well, I guess let me even go back before that. When Solana first came out, the only way that if I remember correctly, to really interact with Solana was Solid, and it was this
Yes.
web wallet built by, I think, the FTX team, or maybe Solana team kicked it off, and then the FTX team. Back then, everything was built kind of by everyone. Everyone was like jumping in and building things. But it was a horrible experience and hard to understand what was going on. I remember one specific issue was that if I sent you some USD, if I sent Josh some USDC, and then Dom sent Josh some USDC, you'd have two USDCs in your wallet. It didn't know how to it's technical, but it didn't know how to consolidate accounts and make sure you just had one USDC account. Like, that's how bad it was. And I was like typing stuff in. I didn't know what was happening in my wallet. And then we started to see
The blockchain explorer was unrecognizable. That was one of the big, I think, failures of Solana early on, is they didn't make it as close to Etherscan as possible. They
yeah.
should have literally made the, wallet address from to, and then there was like these, program. There was like 5 different, like, it just was ridiculous back then. I do remember this.
Yeah, I mean, the explore.solana.com is still kind of rough. It's really meant for developers. It's not very helpful if you're
No, I
trying to
know,
just
but
figure out what's going
SoulScan is
on.
pretty usable now. Like,
Yeah,
it's pretty,
SoulScan's
pretty
great. Yeah,
decent.
for sure. But yeah, so that was kind of the landscape. And then I think Soulflare, like, if I remember correctly, came out first, and I remember using them because you could stake your soul in a wallet without having to use like a command line thing or something. And then at some point, soon after that, Phantom came out, and it's a team of guys who are working in the Ethereum space. It's Brendan Millman. He's B Chillman on X. Chris Kalani and Francesco Agosti, and they worked in the Ethereum ecosystem for a while together, and they decided to take this on new, and they thought that Solana was a place to start because they could provide a better user experience than you could building an Ethereum wallet. And that was really the impetus of it. And they did their best to create a great user experience for anyone that wanted to interact with Solana. And they took a bet on Solana when everyone in crypto said it was going nowhere. And I think it paid off. And yeah, now I don't have specific numbers. We're a very big wallet with a lot of users that we love serving. And we want to serve users where they're at. We want to bring them on chain. We want to give them all the tools to be able to transact, without having to go through all the traditional headache we've all dealt with before.
I saw this Hyperliquid integration in Phantom, and I wish I had something saved on it, but I don't seem to. So maybe you have some more numbers. It seems to have been a very successful integration to date. Do you have any numbers or notes on that?
I don't have specific numbers. Just you can probably find them pretty easy, but yeah, it has been very successful, and there's a big appetite for perps. And yeah, it's exciting to see.
On the Hype integration at the time, a lot of people asked, well, why wouldn't Phantom integrate something like Jupiter's perps, which had was it the SPL is their liquidity token? But either way, like the Jupiter solution, which is more Solana native, more kind of on-chain native perps. I don't know if you have any thoughts around, why Hyperliquid versus something that was more native to Solana, because this was a big discussion point back in the day.
For sure. I think just what you can expect from Phantom is they're going to do what's the best thing for their users, right? They're going to find the best UX, the best, fee structure or whatever you want to call it. And from my understanding, again, I don't even really use perps. I know people love them. From my understanding, the liquidity was better with Hyperliquid, and we could provide the similar Solana performance, like Solana speed performance. So from my understanding, from a product perspective, it's kind of a no-brainer. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I think you'll see controversial decisions, but just know that Phantom is doing the best for its users.
Yeah, and I haven't used them through Phantom, to be honest. I've always done the Arbitrum bridge thing and then put it on Hyperliquid. It's just a really clunky user experience, but I shocked at how well Hyperliquid's done with all that friction to make it. But yeah, maybe like wrapping up here, just Adam, I don't know if you have final thoughts or, if the boys have any questions to wrap this up, but anything that gets you excited about where we're headed here, and whatever you'd like to share as a CTA from the Phantom side, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, personally, I feel really fortunate to be a part of this community and ecosystem. And I think, obviously it can be rough and scary, but if you're part of it, I think you should feel fortunate too, and try to find the place where you fit, what makes sense to you to do, whether it's trading or posting or building. You should find that place and find what gets you excited, and what you're going to have discipline to really go after. But ultimately, like, I'm all about the builders. I think I love seeing excited young founders going after hard problems, and I want to be there to help them. So if you're doing that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am behind in my DMs right now, but I'll do my best to follow up with you in a reasonable time.
All good, Adam. Well, we have had about 350 interviews on the show, about 200 almost this year, of founders and people who are building stuff in the space. And we host like all these different demo days that have been happening on EZA, Believe, and all these launch pads. So we'll send people your way if they have questions. But it's I agree. A lot of really exciting things being built. Printr was one we had on like earlier this week, and Printr's ecosystem is just exploding right now. Shout out Meteor DBC for the infra there. But yeah, it's just been awesome.
Awesome.
Adam, definitely stop by. We're going to have a room on the main floor of Coliseum.
Yes.
Just having a bunch of founders come through, talk about their experience at Coliseum. Would love to get the inside scoop from one of the judges on what you're seeing on the floor. So feel free to stop by. We'll definitely
we're the live stream host for the EZA consensus hackathon, which is main floor, 800 builders. So
I don't know if I'm going to make it out to Miami, but
really,
I hope you guys have a great show. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great show, and yeah, feel free to point anybody my way online. I'm perpetually online. more than I probably should be, as I'm
You
sure
and
you
me
can all relate
both.
to.
Yeah.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? But no, Adam, it's been a great chat, great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And again, doors always open here at MCG. So if there's anything, anytime you'd like to, come back on the show, definitely let us know. But it was a pleasure today. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
Peace, Adam.
Of course, you too. Take care. Awesome, man. It was good to get a little inside scoop there from the judge at the
Yes.
Coliseum Hackathon. I mean, that's it's a pretty huge it's a pretty huge stage to showcase a product, and it's really good to get an inside look on what's being built and what's kind of exciting going on over there. So great interview. Any takeaways specifically from that one?
Yeah, it just seems like there are a lot of people interested in redefining tokenomics as we know it.
Yes,
And like, I think I fit in this bucket where it's like, there are people that'll say, dude, why are you, so interested in Street? Why are you so interested in MetaDAO? Why are you so interested in SOAR? It's like, it's not that I have an affinity for any of these brands over another brand. It's just like these people are making meaningful iterations and they're at least trying, like they're putting their neck out there and trying. And so like, again, it's so clear to us that this is coming in a meaningful way when Robinhood's stepping in and doing pre-IPO companies and Hyperliquid's getting so much attention for X stocks and pre-stocks and Kraken stepping into the space acquiring, X stocks, and the NYSE is acquiring a piece of Kraken and they're working with NASDAQ or NYSE acquired a piece of OKX, excuse me. It's just like, dude, institutions are here. And so it's interesting to see that Adam was so curious on how people are going to iterate on like the current token model that we have, because I think everyone can really agree it just doesn't work. And so that's why you have your printers coming along and adding some belief to the trenches. But I think everyone's kind of in agreement here. It's like this old model, the pump fund like model we've seen for so long, it's kind of got to go. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, look, we speed ran all of these things. Going back to ETH, right? We speed ran the ICOs back in 2017. That obviously didn't go anywhere. We speed ran the utility projects back in 22, 23. And the manual launches on Ethereum, the tax farms, all of that. We speed ran through that. Then we came to Solana with Pump Fund. So I feel like we've always had this curiosity around, what's the best like way to, I guess, go to market? What's the best way to launch a token? How can we do this in a way that that makes a project successful? And we've speed ran every option, and now we need to speed run some more. So yeah, like, look, guys, if you're here watching MCG, like we're at the forefront, we're at the absolute cutting edge. We want to talk about all of this. We want to see what the builders are building. I mean, in the meantime, we'll trade some meme coins, right? We'll trade some on-chain experiments. We'll have our fun. But ultimately, we love experiments. Ultimately, we love being on the cutting edge and seeing what people are building.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting tweet that goes into what we're talking about here. This is Vlad, CEO of Robinhood. He goes, investors and he posted this yesterday. He goes, investors don't naturally think I only want exposure after the IPO. They think I want to back great businesses. And I don't know. I think it's a bit of insight into how Robinhood's thinking about this. I even made a comment saying, like, when does Robinhood move down the risk curve from just like these pre-IPO companies to Series A, B, C, D, etc. But yeah, I think this reinforces our conversation. So I don't know if you guys have an opinion on this, but I think it's really interesting that Vlad is kind of making this point that like, hey, people want access to great businesses, and I think this is like private equity he's predicating this on.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the the streets and others kind of go at this equity model. We've seen SOAR do that. We've seen a few others do that. Um, we th- we continue to try and iterate on this whole question around tying equity to tokens. And I really thought that Pumpcade, that was really innovative, that ACE model. I wonder if that turns the token into a security though. Not really sure how that work from the
So,
legal.
well, no, it doesn't turn the token into a security because the tokens are not representing the equity. You're like KYCing and getting safe notes, which are then converted at price rounds. This is really fascinating. I actually want to get a clip on this. If
So
you guys
do you have to KYC in terms of being an accredited investor still?
don't have to be an accredited investor, no, but you do have to KYC. So like US participants are out of luck here. And I think it kind of dives into that in the bottom.
You know, because I was wondering in one way, if even if you had it only for accredited investors, and there still then is an arbitrage there. And the retail who holds the Pumpcade token, right? All they want is a little bit of additional liquidity for, you know, if this falls out of valuation, that, you know, can be arbitrage. Some fund comes in and says, well, look, you know, if we sink 50 grand into the token, we can buy up a little bit of cheap stuff.
Right.
We're the accredited investors. So we're the ones that will go get the equity. Right. And then it just kind of, it doesn't tie it in for all token holders, but it ties in enough that it kind of creates an arbitrage.
Well, you don't even have to worry about that though. That's the like, because you don't have to be an accredited investor, but that's the most interesting thing about this. Now, the window's only open for a month and it's at a 2.5x multiple. So, you know, 1 million token valuation is 2.5 million equity value, or 2.5 million equity valuation. At 2.5 million token valuation, it gets you 1 million equity valuation.
Okay.
So sorry, I screwed up a little bit. But no, I think that's the most important part here. And I've heard from sides, and of course, I think the people that are maybe giving pushback on this have skin in the game in other companies trying to do this. But I've gotten some pushback saying, "Oh, this is kind of like a big nothing." But I think it's very important, and I think the most interesting part about this that people should be taking away is the arbitrage opportunity, and that's kind of the conversation I'm having around Ace. It's like, okay, well now Pumpcade is a liquid token that's going up and down. If it goes below a certain threshold, even for these funds that invested in the private round, they can see it and scoop it up. There's a 1 month window where this is open. Now, I think the interesting idea would be having this open indefinitely. And the interesting idea would be, okay, Pumpcade's trading at a 30 million valuation. So that's assuming the equity is worth about 75 million in value. But if it drops down to 10 million in valuation, okay, well now you can convert the token at a 25 million valuation into the equity. And so I think you have funds, people that it's an oversubscribed round, people that couldn't participate, even just your average Joe who wants equity in the company, they could see this and they're like, look, we already don't trade the liquid market. We're holding safe notes as it is. We're holding equity as it is. I just bought in around a 50 million. It's now 25 million on chain. Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to buy this token up and I'm going to just convert it. And so you have this arbitrage opportunities to where what it does is the floor now kind of becomes limited, especially to people who have actually invested in the round, because they can convert right into the equity. And so if you ever get arbitrage to the downside, it can get arbed out pretty easily. And the token now acts as a speculative token where it can value to the upside because it's liquid and tradable. So you have the speculation on the company's value, and there's a bit of a premium on it because it's actually liquid. Whereas you can always convert if it goes below equity value.
So funny that we were trying to get Pop to just like say it on stream, like last week or 2 weeks, and then boom, it's like there it is, you know. So, anyways,
that's the mechanism. It's interesting.
Dave, looking forward to y'all's EZA coverage coming up in Miami with some live alpha. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we're gonna do is kind of have like an area there where projects, you know, if they have a token, great. We'll have them on. If they don't have a token, we'll find out their plans. And then we'll live content it out. So you have to be on the stream to hear about projects. We'll be doing live notes. We'll be doing live clips. Everything will get out. It's going to be awesome.
We're going to be all over the place.
By the way, if you're listening to this and you want to sponsor MCG going to consensus, we really do welcome the financial support. It means a lot and really helps us get out there.
Open to
but
it.
Yeah, we are like last time. I don't have the shirt on right now or the shirt near me, but Dom has it. We had a bunch of really generous sponsors that helped us out get to Breakpoint, and we extend that as well. It's $750 for a logo on the shirt, and all proceeds, literally, we're not making money from it. It just goes to cover costs of travel and stuff, and tickets, etc. So we would appreciate it. So let us know if you're in the comments.
A lot of fun though, a ton of content going out. Like we said,
Yes.
we're going to cover the hackathon, get a bunch of the guests coming.
800 builders, $500,000 in prizes, main floor, right in the middle of Consensus, like 3 days. Going to be the biggest live stream at Consensus, and we're going to do it up.
Going to try to cover Monked Out stuff, lots of Accelerate side events.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. We're going to try to just put builders in front of the camera and get them to drop the alpha. So we'll do our best, of course.
You know, we squeezed the alpha. So do we want to like do any charts or anything? Like, what do we want to do here? What do we want to do?
Sure. I mean, we can keep going on the charts. What time do we have Crime coming on? Because we're going to cover D-Lim there. Speaking of,
there's the
speak of
right
the
there.
Diablo. Chill and feel free to chime in if you want to do charts, bro.
Wow, I've been on mute this whole time. Yeah, Crime, I got you right now, brother. I got you right now. Hey, Crime, send me your TG link. Actually, if you don't mind, I can. I don't know if we have a. Do we have a chat with Crime?
By the way, Dom, I know a great restaurant that we're gonna go to Miami, in Miami, and yeah, I hope you like ceviche because it's phenomenal.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Dude, set up a chat with Crime. What the heck are we doing, bro?
Yeah, Crime. How do we have you in the?
We have them in the. Yeah, the comms chat.
Oh, it's a different chat. Oh, gotcha. It's in a different chat. Okay, because I was
He
like,
says, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. Might have to swing down to Miami. Check it out, dude. Absolutely, come through. Like, we'll also have a few extra T-shirts for fans of the show, and you'll get them. Last time at Met Dobby, our T-shirts were flying off the shelf to people who were kind of random, and I was like, "Yo, cap that." They are the hottest thing on the floor here. Good quality.
They're great shirts. They're actually
great shirts, dude. They're phenomenal shirts. They're premium quality, everything. I said, no. Only fans of the show get those. So
I actually have, there was a few extra larges we had hiding out. We wanted to keep some to get them back.
I have some.
Yeah, maybe we can give some of those out to the real OGs. If you
Bro,
make it down,
Dom, you never.
I got them right here,
shirt,
guys.
bro.
If you guys want shirts, sorry, we got to get Chill some shirts.
I'm gonna save 2 for Chill. I'm gonna save 1 green and 1 black for Chill. I think I have like 3 more. They're only extra larges though, because all the other ones went like instantly, and we're like, okay, we gotta.
But that's okay, because they wear a little baggy, and you know, I don't know if Chill's lifting these days or not, but it'll be fine for Chill.
Always lifting, brother.
Let's go.
So I might do a retro collection of MCG. These are limited edition. I have about 20 of them, but we'll maybe put these up on the website whenever we get a website, and they'll be in the archive edition, the MCG archive swag. So,
oh, bros, let me mention something, because I've been bringing up Kraken quite a bit today. How the ICE how they partnered up with the NYSE, I believe it was, with this X stocks stuff to bring 24/7 markets. They purchased X stocks a while ago, like clearly very directionally focused on this kind of stuff. Look, Kraken also, let's see. Kraken's parent company, Payard, has agreed to acquire crypto's derivative platforms, BitNominal, for up to $550 million in cash and stocks. I've never heard of BitNominal in my life, but again, goes back to I think Kraken's just investing in the infrastructure now and, getting ahead of this stuff. But look at this, crypto derivatives platform, BitNominal, for up to $550 million in cash, over $500 million for this acquisition. That's pretty wild. Kraken's making real good moves, bro. I got to give it to him.
Yeah, we're in the acquire everything that's out there that looks cheap stage of the cycle. This is good. Oh yeah, this is really good for the markets. This is high signal. Finally, the exchanges are like, we have a regulatory pathway here. Let's start writing checks, because it's going to be a land grab.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if Crime's good to go here, but he's in the waiting room. I might sub out for him.
Yeah.
Sub him in and let you guys cook on the D-Lim.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
All right, see you, Dom.
See you, boys.
Dang, I didn't
God.
I didn't know you guys had to sub people out. Sorry, Tom.
We don't have to sub people out, but it fits better on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
here,
see.
Yeah. Plus, Dom doesn't have his 5-sol DLM port going yet, so until he's got that set up, he's off.
All right,
He's out.
before I make my departure here, I will say I'm starting the 5-sol challenge. You guys had been asking me like, Dom, when are you back in the trenches? All right, Bitcoin is breaking out of this range. Market's hot. Everyone's eating. Once Josh starts eating on fees, I know I gotta get on. I gotta get on action, dude. So I'm starting back up. Dom's the great return is in the works. So you'll be seeing
The
a lot
great
more of it.
lock-in begins. Let's
go.
go.
All right, I'll let y'all boys cook, but I'm tapped in.
All right, bro. Yo, Crime, what up, man?
Yo,
What's going
what
on,
up?
brother? How you doing?
Not much. I just saw Josh's PVE cook on the timeline
Holy
like
bro,
30 minutes ago.
I recycled it in, reset my range, and I'm up like another 13% in the last 25 minutes, 29
That's
minutes.
crazy.
Bro, I'm cooking. I also have an Unk DLM right now. I put it on 3 hours ago, and it's cooking another up like 1.5 sol right now. I don't know what's going on. Are volumes coming back or like?
Yeah, I think so.
My P&L chart, bro, is absolutely taking off here. And I didn't start with a whole lot. And then I added some more capital in as I felt comfortable. But I mean, I would love to screen share this, but every time I do, my computer lags so much. But maybe I'll give this a quick look just so you guys can see.
What kind of setup are you running, Crime?
It's really weird. It's not like anything specific nowadays. I used to when the first time I came on, I was telling you guys I go really, really deep, like 90% down. But recently I've actually been going tighter ranges. So usually I only go soul sided. And you don't make as much if it pumps up if you just go one-sided soul. Obviously you make more if you buy the token, set some for the upside supply, but I still am mostly just going one-sided. In this case, it looks like he went two-sided.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So, but I usually go one-sided, and then, for example, on Asteroid last night, I was doing a really tight range, at the kind of beginning, and then over I went to bed and I was like, all right, my range there was probably minus 30% down, and then when I went to bed I expanded it to minus 72% or something like that. But I'm more comfortable going tighter ranges. I used to always advertise for a few months to go minus 90% because these tokens go to zero, but the volume's coming back, so I'm more comfortable concentrating it a little bit more and not going as wide.
Yeah, maybe my feeling here. And so I've done double-sided on charts that look bottomed. If I feel the probabilities are, it's already minus 90, I feel okay, there's a good chance that if I can get half the token in plus half the liquidity in and let it run, I am trading it. So again, you still have to be a decent trader, but I mean, it's worked. I don't know. It's just maybe a lucky timing. There are definitely markets where buying the token is not a good market to do it in. And I think we've exited that phase. And at least for the moment, we're in a phase where it's all right, some of these are running and it's just, you have to have some of the token exposed to it or you're just not going to get that dip too much.
Bro, dude, the volume is freaking back. Crime. Remember in our session yesterday?
I was just looking at it, Dumb Money.
Yeah, dude, I'm cooking on Dumb Money.
It literally did exactly the playbook. It went down and then it didn't touch that last point, but then it came up into your range. That's crazy.
Do you want to actually pull that up?
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. Let's see. Share
in
my
PVE.
screen.
While we were just looking at it, that was getting the most insane bin movement.
Dude,
I just saw chunking around.
All right, here's how I found the PVE trade. Here's how I found the PVE trade is I follow Chill TRD, and Chill called PVE. What I like about PVE is because it only had like $100 of liquidity. I basically was the only liquidity in this for the last 3 days. And now it has about 15K, but I was printing 5 or 6% on PVE. And yeah, again, you do get caught offside. Absolutely. Crypto Jones, but it's a new launch pad. These are new tokens that are getting discovered. Not a lot of people know that it's out there. It's not pump fun. It's Meteor based. And so I just kind of said, all right, this has all the elements. Chill then called PVE. And I was like, all right, you know, and by the way, Chill called it at like 100K, right?
Y'all see this entry right here? I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you gotta look, if you're trading spot, you're not DLMing, you gotta trade it on Trojan. Trade on Trojan, trojan.com /@MCG. Okay. It's the best cash back, 50% cash back, guys, or 45%. But yeah, hit them up. So yeah, sorry, I'll pause there, Chill. What's your thoughts on PVE?
So first off, I'm just gonna claim cloud a little bit here. Firstly, for this PVE call, because PVE was at 90K. I actually got in at 90K. I ended up on this retest of the range right here. And yeah, about right here. I ended up DCAing more in. I took some profits up here at like 500K. I knew it was overextended. It'll pull back to the top of the range. Nice little DCA back in. That pulled the average up to 123. And now we're candling, about to crack a mill. So this is already a 10x call right here. It's already a 10x call. So, you know, get in the TG, man. Get in the freaking TG. And let's actually talk a little bit about the dumb money trade as well. I mean, dude,
Crypto Jones, I think you called I think he did call PV as well on Printr while he was on the stream.
Dude, we got so much alpha. We got so much alpha on MCG that you can even get alpha in the chat. You know what I mean? Like, our community is just crazy, bro. Here is the dumb money trade. And if you guys watched the stream yesterday, and let me know if I'm lagging or not, because I got a couple terminals open.
Guys, I'm gonna throw the MCG TG up, and we'll forward everything from Chills to that as well, so you guys will get all that forwarded.
Perfect. Yeah. So follow the MCG TG.
What's up? Crime, do you have a TG?
Yes, like a TG group, or like
where you're calling these trades.
Yes, I do. Do you want me to show it,
bro? Link that.
I'm thinking what we should do is just like any of these trade setups. Crime's like the in-house resident. We send the Crime as the DLMM in-house resident. We'll share the setups to the MCG Alpha account. We'll share Chill's trade setups. You guys can kind of get it all in one place. There you go.
I actually kind of like that idea. Not gonna lie.
Great idea. We'll set Crime up as an admin, so anyone who can, only Crime, me, Chill, and Dom can forward calls to it. So there you go.
But yeah, so this trade, I don't know if you guys noticed the update on dumb money, but basically the WSB guys were in, but since then they've also got 4 centralized exchange listings. They have VCs on board, and they have billboards worldwide, apparently.
No way. I did not know that.
Yeah, so there's a lot. Remember, if you guys watched the live stream with Crime yesterday that I did, then you would have noted that I talked a little bit about a thesis, right? Thesis-driven trades kind of help these tokens to actually see a bounce after a 70, 80, 90% pullback. You can't really just randomly think a token will come back from, you know, being minus 80%. There has to be a reason why, right? There has to be a marginal buyer. That marginal buyer is likely driven by some sort of thesis. Dumb money and a few other trades like Unc and, you know, and some of the others, they have these thesis driven thesis driven price action behind it. So set the range up yesterday, called it out. Basically, here's the setup, guys. You have on the 2 hour, we talk about the discovery candle. This is the discovery candle there, right? That's a discovery candle. We also called out this pivot candle there. That is a pivot point on the chart, right? The last red candle before it goes just parabolic. Typically, price likes to revisit this range. And then you also have a cluster of buys and sells here. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go below the cluster, which is just below the pivot, and then just capture any type of pullback. And so far, up 23% on the trade. You know, you don't need to be so tapped into the trenches that you need to like catch everything early. The power of DLMMing on Meteora allows you to essentially be late to these things, but still be profitable. And it's kind of hard to do that. If you're trying to trade, you're low-key having to, look at these entries, time them. If you're late, you're looking for pullbacks and things of that nature. But with Meteora, you can literally just set your range. You can set your range at the top, and using some of these strategies, some of these concepts around like pivot candles, around pivot points on the chart, discovery candles, cluster of buys and sell in a range. You can use those different concepts to create a range where the price would likely be in, and then just DLMM from there. So what a trade so far here.
Yeah.
What a trade so far.
And going off of that, I always like to say, like, when you're trading like traditionally, you have to be like super perfect and precise on your entries. And on Meteor, it allows you to be like imperfect. Like you can just like select like a certain range that you think the chart is not going to break below, and that's your kind of point where if it goes below, you might be in trouble. But if you can go as wide as you want, you can go 50% down, you can go 70% down without having to specifically nail the entry, like on that like one wick where it like went to the bottom. Like the chances of you getting an entry there are so like low, as opposed to just having constant exposure with Meteora.
100%, man. 100%. Any trades or that you're taking now, or anything that you're learning now that you want to share?
I mean, last night, I assume you guys saw Asteroid.
Yes, I did see
think,
it.
yeah, a homie of mine printed, he went from $200 to 32K in like 2 hours because he flipped. Yeah, he flipped the Asteroid on Sol, ran it up, saw that one launched on Ethereum, bridged over, and like put
Oh my
profits there.
gosh.
And he ran it up from like he got into the ETH one at like 500 or 600K or something like that. And yeah, just went absolutely nuts. But yeah,
Oh my
I didn't
gosh.
personally get in that one though.
I can show you like there's like three. There's like really like two DLMMs that are kind of active right now. By the way, chill. It looks like peptides went up today because of the hymns news, or the peptide news.
No way, peptides ripped. Hold on. Let
I
me
don't think
check
it
the
ripped that
chart.
hard. I'm just seeing that I'm out of range now, so it
Oh,
must have
got
gone
you.
up a little bit. And PVE is still absolutely ripping.
I cashed out a PVE. Man, 13. No, I'm 15 and a half sold profit in the last 24 hours on this, on a 40 sold deposit.
Oh my
46
gosh.
sold deposit. And I've like earning crazy fees on this. Like, yeah, what's going on here? I'm new to DLMing. Like, this is new. This is beginner's luck. I'm not gonna.
It's really fun when it works really well.
Yeah. But as Crypto Jones has said, you ought to be careful with these, because if they're like bundled and the bundle's unraveling or something like that, or it falls out of the bottom of your range, you definitely can get wrecked on it. So
Yeah.
like, you gotta be.
By the
gotta be
way,
careful.
Crypto Jones, I'm pretty sure it's not organic as well. I'm like, I would say I can speak with like 70 to 75% of speculative certainty that it's not organic. But there's no way that you have guys from WSB, like the OG Roaring Kitty guys. There's no way you get them on board without like, with it being organic. It's kind of a planned thing. I'm not trying to flood anyone's bags. Not saying that's bad or anything like that, but just saying I don't think it's
WSB is definitely a plant for sure.
Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Dude, PVE is just printing. Holy moly.
I
real
thought that
quick.
was like the last time I looked at this chart, it was literally at like it had rugged to like 30K, and I was like, oh dang. Because I've been watching the Printr launchpad tokens with a little bit more interest, just because of the printing dynamics on that, because it's with the Meteor DBC are like typically those tokens, like bags tokens, if they're getting a lot of volume, because the initial liquidity pool is like 2% or whatever, as opposed to pump funds 1%. The DLMMs tend to do really, really well on these tokens if they get a lot of volume. So it's just something interesting, and I would not have expected, to be honest, that this thing ran all the way back to all-time highs, but that is like really, really
Yeah, pretty unexpected. But can I ask you a question? What is,
Mhm.
and Chill, I don't know if you can pull PVE open, but what is the dynamic fee? So there's the base fee of the pool, and then I see as volume comes in, the dynamic fee comes on top. Like at some point, you're earning like 4 to 5% fees on these trades, and like the 24-hour fee on your position, if your liquidity is concentrated enough, is 2, 3, 4, 500%. And again, these are trades. These are not things you can just walk away from your thing and like totally whatever, but you're there to get the liquidity, to provide the liquidity, and then take your profits. But the dynamic fee, what is the dynamic fee?
So the dynamic fee is something that gets introduced when the token, I don't know like the actual mechanics behind it, but it gets introduced when the token is super, super volatile and there's a ton of volume coming in. So like on something that's moving like really slow, like I don't even know, like a really older pair, like Testicle or like Wojak or something like that, there's going to be almost no dynamic fee on that.
Sorry.
But
Sorry.
I don't know why that one came to mind, but
So one of your favorite holdings, eh?
not mine. My friend is like the biggest testicle bull like ever, and he's like been LPing it for like 6 months, and he's made like a crazy amount of Solana on that one. But yes, the dynamic fee on like testicle or something is going to be low. Honestly, I'm looking at the PVE dynamic fee. It says 2.6%. I bet during that spike, the dynamic fee was like way higher. I bet the dynamic fee like on that big candle was probably like 5 or 6 or something like that. But it's just because I don't know how like the actual routing mechanisms work, but just when a ton of order flow comes in, that's why like when we see, and the dynamic fee on Asteroid was really high last night. That's why when we see like a bunch of volume coming in back into the markets, it's like so exciting, because once you get tokens that have tons of volume and have this dynamic fee spiking, it's like just really, really good risk reward to be in. So yeah, it just comes from like insane price movements. I don't know how they calculate that.
I kind of look at it as it's, look, you can trade these tokens, or you can provide some liquidity into them where you're still trading them. You still have exposure, but you have that additional added bonus of earning the fees. And, look, again, this PVE trade for the last 2 candles here, the last, hour and so I've been in it, where a good share of the volumes come in. Like, yeah, my position is up 50, 60% just from the price appreciation and me having the, the spot levels that I'm getting out at. But also on top of that, I earned like 1 or 2 SOL on like a 4 SOL position, 5 SOL position just based on the fees, and the fees in that little stretch of time in 24 hours was like 400 or 500%. And again, as Crypto Jones says, it's a trade. You got to manage it. But man, like if you're going to buy it, you're going to trade it anyways. So you're either going to buy spot or you're going to buy spot and earn the fees using DLM, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see you guys using it. Like, I just really hope that we get the sustained volume, which I think we will with all of the majors kind of crawling up. But like back, you can still profit using DLMMs in a slow market and like kind of a bear market, but especially when we start getting runners like PVE, like Asteroid, like Unk, it's just like it makes it a lot easier. And I actually don't think that more people doing it will decrease the edge, because back in like uh August 2024 to like December 2024 or January 2025, there was like a lot of people DLMMing. And then after the Trump thing, a lot of people left. But like that period of time was the easiest to make money ever. And there's a lot of people doing it, you know? So I don't think that more people in the space is going to decrease the edge of it.
I wondered that. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I show you guys my thoughts on Asteroid real quick?
Yeah, let's look at some positions here. Let's
see.
Yeah. There's literally so much going on right now that I've like totally, it's energizing because there was like we were streaming for a last month and they're just chopping, like getting chopped up and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Dom's not even trading because what are you going to trade? There's nothing. And then Printr comes along and just some stuff starts popping off. But
yeah, to be fair, I was not doing that well for the past 3-ish weeks, but we've been climbing back a little bit.
What's your mentality around that? Like from a DLMMing perspective, like how do you crawl back from a stretch of bad trades, or even generally speaking?
In the past, I used to size down a little bit. This time around, I'm actually I've been keeping the same size. But I would say just being patient. It's the good thing about DLMMing, and I tell people this a lot, is that it's really hard to revenge trade. Like it's really hard to get on tilt and then throw a ton of money away. Just like on Axiom or something, you can delete as much money as you want in 1 hour, just by revenge trading everything. But on DLMMs, if you're setting up a little bit wider ranges, as long as you're not going 20% ranges and trying to make it all back really quickly, it's really hard to delete a bunch of money. But at the same time, you can go on losing streaks. So in that case, just size down and then build your way back up. But a lot of my wins, thankfully, because if I had taken a bunch of losses in a different fashion, I was trying to LP these straight up scam tokens that my friend plays, and he was giving me FOMO. And so I was playing these VDOR. They were similar to VDOR and those weird TikTok marketed tokens that are obviously just complete volume botted straight up. And he convinced me to play them, and I lost 11 soul on one and then 11 soul on the next one, and that really took it down. But honestly, taking those losses was easier to take because it was a straight minus 99% red candle, and it's okay, I lost, they won. But as opposed to something where there's opportunity for you to get out and you don't get out, or something like that, that's where you can get really, really annoyed. But as far as your question, I think just taking profits earlier, on the first bounce, as opposed to getting greedy, I think is a good thing to keep yourself grounded.
Last question before you break down the Asteroid trade. what's your average, like, what's your average P&L? Like, are you closing like big P&Ls every time, or is it more like stacking some like smaller wins to help you? Because you've done the 1 to 200 soul, right? So
Mhm.
you've obviously had your set of wins, but did that come overnight? Was it just a matter of like stacking, refining your strategy over time? Like, how did that
So there was a period of time where I would hit some like really big wins, and this was back in like November, and like I don't know if you guys remember like the lion. It was like the lion meme, where it was like the lion doesn't
yeah,
concern himself.
the lion doesn't concern himself with red candles.
Yes, yes. I was LPing that like from like 100K down to like 20K, and like it dumped down like for a long time. And like I actually wasn't getting that good of feed generation. But then it had like some crazy move, and like those were like the big wins. And like Fa, I don't know if you guys remember that one, but like I just had like a crazy like I was LPing it at like 30K, and they ended up going to like 2 mil or something. So like those were like some really big wins. But as far as like consistency, I'm probably averaging like 1 to 1.5 soul per position. If it's like a decent win, if I'm getting out on like a bounce or something, like the usual strategy where, you start LPing it from the discovery candle, as you say, and then it comes down, it gets a bounce. Like usually, I'm just getting out on the first or second bounce, whatever it might be, for like usually like a 1 soul, 1.5. Usually, my average wins honestly aren't over like 2 soul. Um, and then I'll still take profits on stuff at like 0.5 soul or 0.4 soul, depending on the situation. But as of the past few months, it's been kind of rare that I hit like something like I haven't hit like a 10 soul win in quite a long time.
Got you. Got you.
What
So
what do you do
let's
when I gotta ask about this. So for PV, for instance, I've
Mhm.
DLN'd it 3 times, and every time, one was at the bottom of the range here where Chill has it up here, where it was kind of chopping from like yesterday. So the 15th, 16th, I was DLMing in that range. It was good. And then every level here, chasing it up, I kind of get out of the range a couple of times. Do you just keep resetting it, or like, I don't know. It kind of, obviously you want to hold some upside, but I don't know. Just your thoughts.
It depends on something like that. Like
Or do you
I
just
don't.
take the soul and be like, hey, I'm happy with that kind of thing?
Yeah, not to FUD you out or anything, but like on those big spikes, like I'm super happy, like just closing it out
Yeah.
and moving on. But you can also like you had kind of like a pretty like thick position in terms of like spot there. Like if you
Yeah.
still believed in it and you were happy with your profit, you could close it out and then open up like maybe like a bid ask, so that you're kind of positioned if it comes down a little bit more the next time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't want to FUD you out of anything, but like that is a great the move there is like super super strong, and the fee generation was good, so I'd be happy with that play for sure.
Yeah, I think if I do re-enter this, it will be bid ask soul only, and
Yes.
it'll just be kind of maybe to the base or like that 200K level there, Chill, like where it kind of chops from the 17th to noon today. But yeah, and just
Okay, so you're out
I
of
don't
this.
know. I'm out of this now. I'm totally in profit. The only thing I have
Yeah,
open right now
that's a good exit.
is Unk right now, but you know, I might, like, again, sizing down like I got the move, but I just, yeah, want to keep it.
But yeah,
And
bid asking.
this is the first money I've made in like 18 months, so I'm a little giddy, sorry guys.
That's so hype.
Yeah,
That's a great trade. Great trade.
yeah. And it's still like not many people are in it. Like if Printr Eco really takes off here, I saw Zinc got into it. I don't even know what caused the spike. Someone on FOMO probably bought it, and it just like everyone's like So I need something new other than pump or something like that. But yeah.
So walk us through the asteroid trade.
Yeah, can you share
Sure.
that?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna walk you through two trades real quick because they kind of led into each other.
Give us the
Um,
sauce, my guy.
all right, let me pull it up. Am I able to share the screen by chance?
Yep,
Oh
we
wow,
got
it's
you right
actually
now.
kind of going down. Interesting. Okay. So actually, I was looking at, I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. I don't know if we were talking about this, chill, but basically, I actually liked this token a lot because it was Doge, and it caught my attention because like they just done like the Pepe thing and hacked Matt Fury's Twitter. I assume you guys saw that.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
I'll go over that real quick. So someone basically hacked Matt Fury's Twitter, and they made a bags token, a Pepe bags token, where Matt was going to get the fees. On his Twitter, he said that he claimed the fees, and then this thing, the Pepe went to like, I don't know, like 6 mil or something. And the print
I think it went to 8. Like it went even
eight,
higher than that.
I
It's
think it went to
crazy.
8, and the print on that thing, I I got greedy on it, but like that is like if you were LPing it there, you know that like the fee generation on that was absolutely absurd. Like it was the fee generation that we used to have in like 2024, and that was just cool to see. But obviously, Matt Fury came, my Twitter got hacked, whatever, it rugged. But leading into Doge, that's why I was interested on this one. Shibatoshi, the actual creator of Dogecoin, had said, I actually didn't create Doge myself. I saw on an internet forum, whatever, whatever. And then someone made this coin and found a guy who actually made the meme. And then made a tweet about it, quoted Shibatoshi's tweet, but then Shibatoshi deleted his tweet, and so it rugged. And then the actual guy that actually made the meme replied, "Is like, what's going on?" They're like, "Oh crap, he's active." So it pumps back up, and then he is talking about like claiming the fees or whatever. So I'm playing this. Anyways, I actually left this overnight. This is like really sketchy. Uh, but as you can see, I went like kind of a tight range, and even though it's at the bottom, I'm somehow up like 50% on this. So I'm just praying for this to happen. But
Dude, that's crazy.
Dude,
You're
but this
you're
is
up
yeah,
you're
like
up
this
on a
is
token that went down?
I mean, it if it like went to 0 from here, I probably would be like break even or something. But like because it came out like as you can see, this is my range right here. It wicked out like a few times, which is a little sketchy. And I hope I'm staying in here because I want this token to do well. But this is like I've been kind of a degen and like really having too much conviction on stuff. So we'll see how this works. This might not work. But yeah, being in this LP has been like pretty crazy of a print.
But this is why DLMing is so powerful is, you get 1 or 2 oscillation in your range and your P&L break even point really comes down quickly. And then you can kind of say, all right, now that I've managed it a little bit, like, the one thing they need to add is stop losses here, to be honest with you, because that would
I
be
agree with
help
you.
you sleep at night. But like, I mean, you could theoretically keep this open and see if it continues to oscillate there and know that you're pretty good on it.
Yeah, it's funny because like I was when you said you're in profit on this, it's going down. I was like, I don't understand. I'm still in range, but then I like just looked at the chart and it literally is like going straight down. So I see what you mean. I see why
Yeah.
you're questioning. Yeah, very.
But you could like claim your fees here, which is your your
Uh-huh.
size, right? And then you
Mhm.
could basically just leave it going. I mean,
Yeah.
you would be at this point, it's just profits that are sitting in there.
Yeah, but anyways, while this was
Yeah.
happening, because I was like super locked in, um, I was actually helping the guy, the OG Doge creator, with like his with he had like questions. I was just trying to give him transparent information about it. While that was happening, fucking asteroid came out, and this thing when I looked at it first, it had, I don't know, like it had like 8 mil in volume at this point, and I was like, "What is going on?" And everyone in my Telegram was like, "Oh, Elon, narrative, whatever, whatever." I was like, "What is going on?" And I was focused on the Doge thing at that point, but then that kind of slowed down. And around here, this is not the range that I was in. This is the current range I have running right now. But around here is when I started getting in, and I don't do this frequently, but I went like pretty tight here. I went like something like maybe 20 or 30%, and I threw in like a good amount of size here. And then I made like I actually put in like 14 soul or something like right here, and I just got out for like a 1.4 soul profit like right here, and I was like, okay, I'm good with that. I just saw like the volume, the tape on. I was looking on Axiom too, and the order flow coming in was like just like out of this world. Like it's done almost 50 mil in volume in less than 24 hours, and that is just like doesn't make any sense really, which is awesome to see. But that's why I was fine with playing it really tight, and then I got out for 1.4 soul, and then this position you see now is what I left overnight, and it looks like it went really deep into my range, but as you can see, the way like these charts work, it's actually not that deep. I forget how much I put, maybe 15 soul in here, so around 3 soul is actually converted to the token, but I still have 12 soul left in this whole, like, space all the way down to here, but it looks like, it looks like it's super deep with this all of the space above, but really, when you look at the actual range, it's not entirely, deep, so I don't know. I'll give it a little bit more time. I probably could have exited this morning before I got on, like right here would have been a nice spot to get out and just get out for whatever this is, 150. But this is just like a super, super interesting case. I wanted to talk about it because if we keep getting stuff like this, like knowing how to DLMM is going to be very, very ideal because I'm going to stop ranting in a second, but like imagine like trying to trade this. Imagine trying to trade like that initial range I played up here, like this tight range. Imagine trying to like actually trade this and like buy here and sell here. And I'm sure people can do it, but it's way harder as opposed to just making a range. And then you can just benefit on all of these sideways moves. You don't need an explosive move to the upside, and even you can like plan for moves to the downside. And um, it just is going to be a very, very good tool to have if we keep getting runners in volume like this. So that is what I'll end it with.
Got a question for you. More of a high level question though. Like, let's just say sometime in the near future, let's say 12 months from now, you have most trenchers, they have a DLMM side to their bag, right? Like more people are DLMMing, and probably most trenchers do. Like, how do you think that affects? What's the long term effects of having everybody DLMM? I mean, because it doesn't erase the edge, right? Like, there's still edge no matter how many people come in. So what does the trenches look like with everyone DLMMing?
I've honestly thought about this a lot, and I've never come to like a solid conclusion because I was like thinking, obviously I do want to spread the word about Meteora, but me and my friends have obviously been concerned about like edge erosion. And I'm like, well, when I'm streaming, I really just teach to go one-sided Solana, and I think that in this market, if you have like a ton of people going single-sided Solana, like as long as the initial holders of the token don't absolutely wreck it to zero, this is just going to act as more like buy side support. You know what I mean? Like theoretically. But then you also have the flip side. If you have your liquidity set up here and it rips below and you have a ton of people LPing this, then if it goes out of their range, they're going to withdraw and everyone's going to sell, and it's going to kind of compound the rug. But I think it's good because liquidity, having a lot of liquidity in a token is just going to make it technically more efficient in a way in terms of getting in and out with swaps. The thing is if you have like a ton of liquidity, it's going to kind of slow down the moves on everything. So market orders coming in aren't going to have as much of an impact. So that is good for the downside, right? If someone comes in and nukes or one clips a bunch of their token, you're going to have more liquidity in Meteora here to absorb that. It's not going to have as much of an effect. But on the flip side, if you have a ton of people setting up a ton of upside liquidity, then on the flip side, it makes it harder for buys to go through. So it's kind of like uh, I always think of it as like kind of like molasses in a way. Like when you deposit the liquidity, it just makes the chart a little bit it moves a little bit slower, makes it like more stable. So I don't think I have a good answer on that. I'm yet to see. I've yet to see.
I think
don't
DLMing is enough of a just from it being tricky. I mean, when I first looked at this, I was like, dude, I don't get this. And I'm a sophisticated crypto trader. I've traded for a decade in crypto. I've used everything out there. And even for me, it took a while to understand it. And I think that's enough of a friction to just people just want to show up, buy a token, and have it in their wallet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think until people try it themselves and see the power of it, they're not gonna care about it too much.
My concern around DLMing is that there'll be vaults and enough automation set up that it's like the people doing it like us a little more manually, like little more traders are gonna get the edge taken out.
It's actually a concern going around right now, because there are some people making some AI like trading agents,
Yeah.
and I don't think that there's enough people trying to do that yet where it's going to be an issue, or like I haven't seen evidence of it becoming an issue. But as AI evolves and people get smarter, we'll see. Just because like AI trading, AI DLMing is one thing, and then AI agents that also copy trade people is like another thing. And it's weird because on DLMing, like copy trading is honestly you actually everyone I've talked to, I don't have any copy traders, believe it or not. Everyone I've talked to does not like when people are copy trading their DLMs. But when you're like trading, it actually is technically ideal to have copy traders because you buy, they buy on top of you, and then your average is like already good. But um that's like those are all like abstract thoughts that I've had, and I haven't really come to a complete conclusion yet on what the outcome is going to be in the future. So
Yeah, so the story here I think is try early, learn early. Right now there's edge in this market. It will erode eventually, but I think for the near term, at least the immediate future, it's I don't see anyone TLMing outside of like our show, you guys. Like, of course there's LP Army people, but like those people have been around like core community. In terms of, but on the other side, the growth in things like FOMO and the trading apps is obviously massive. There's a lot more of those traders for every liquidity provider. So I think it'll be fine. I mean, ultimately as crypto grows this year, and maybe this run, we saw it a little bit with Trump where people went and like bought, Trump token with whatever that app is. Yeah, like that kind of also sparked the Printr thing. Was what did Belief get? Belief got listed by Moonshot. Yeah, so it's Moonshot. Like those retail traders, those click traders. That's where a lot of the edge will come from. Is they don't even know any of this exists. So
yeah, so learn it from here and learn early, I guess.
Yeah, learn early. Okay. Any setups that and Chill, I don't know if you have anything to add, but like any setups you're looking. So I just maybe I'll share one that I just took now is, and again, this is purely with profits, but I took your advice on the bid ask, and I'll maybe explain the trade a little bit
Mhm.
just so everyone knows like my thought process. Okay, I'll let this load up. Definitely gonna lag my computer here. And then we'll maybe get into some if you're looking at anything. So I'll remove crime. Okay. So I do have a bid ask here, and basically I'm looking for it to retrace in this range here and then kind of bounce in here. So why the bid ask is helpful here is that the smaller of my buys are at the closest to the current price, where the meat of my liquidity is down here. So ideally, if I saw it kind of come down here and even bounce once, I'm probably in solid P&L just off that. And then if it continues to bounce in here, maybe it goes up, but I'll be able to eat all of this range, which I think is, from 870 to 420. That's like a solid 70% retrace, maybe 65% retrace. So that's my current setup, and we'll see if it prints. But notice at the top, dynamic fee is 1.7%. The total trading fee is 4% here. So, Josh, you could layer on a bit of spot to catch more fees at the top of your range. I could, and I do that. So sometimes what I do is I'll claim fees and I'll roll them into the chart or roll them into my position. I don't put the SOL denominated fees. I'll roll in the other tokens. Maybe I can show that with Unc here, because I do have some fees to claim. So I have half a SOL to claim here from my Unc position, which Crypto Jones, this is one where I did spot. And again, I bought half the position and then put the other half in liquidity because I thought it would kind of chop in this range. I entered this position this morning, right at here, right where my arrow is. So I got a nice bit of the move. It's oscillated like two times now, at least in this range. And again, even on this pullback here, in half a SOL of profit. So I have like, I don't know, 0.3 or 0.23 SOL in just Unc. So what I'll do is claim this and I'll roll the Unc into the Unc side of this trade. And what I like to do when I roll it in is I use curve. So I like to have that token in kind of the closest to the price. So it's right in the liquidity right away. Yeah, crime has a go-to lesson on how much that extra 20-30% of range really is in market cap from 60 to 80%, or even, I don't know if you want to explain this comment here.
I think he's referring to like I always break down like 250% moves down is minus 75%. And then 3 minus 50% moves down is like minus 87%. So once you get like to those higher percentage moves down, like the percentages start like mattering a lot more, as opposed to like that's just why I used to like advise people go a little bit wider, because they don't actually realize that it goes down 50% and then it goes down another 50%. Those two 50% moves down add up to like a whole minus 75%. And then another 50% down would be
Right.
87% from the top.
Yeah, in terms of lags down, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what's kind of your message there is that's the reason for a wider range, right?
Yeah, and just it's kind of I just like to tell people that like a lot of people think minus 50% is a lot on tokens. But really, like, it can go minus 50% in like 1 hourly candle. You know what I mean? And it's fine. Like, I've been going tighter. I've been going minus 78%, minus 82% kind of nowadays. But just the fact that going minus 75% is actually a lot, or going minus like 87% is a lot wider than you actually think, just because it can cover all of those moves down.
Right.
That makes sense.
So
Just when you're setting it up.
is that more for feedback on my PVE trade where I had it, I think minus 65%? Like, would you put it even further down?
Not necessarily. Like I said, like in this market, the fee generation, the volume is coming in, so being tighter is actually not the worst thing, and you don't have to be as scared nowadays, I don't think. And even if you're playing tight and it goes out of range, you can cut the loss without too much detriment, just because the fee generation during that tight range is probably good, as opposed to like a month ago. There's not too much stuff that I'd be wanting to play that tight, just because the volume wasn't really there. You laughing at that one?
Yeah. Yeah. In your opinion, what's tight in your opinion, Crime?
I think, I mean, it depends. Like 50% is tight for me, and 60% is pretty tight for me. Honestly, like 70% with my full size, like 10 soul is usually what I'm going when I'm going like minus 87%, minus 90%. I'm usually going like 10 soul on position. So if I'm going 70% with 10 soul, that's pretty tight for me. But also, like, you can go tight and just not risk as much. Like, you can go like minus 50% with like one soul, and that is you're gonna be able to manage your risk better. So I'm I'm gonna step away from telling people to go super wide, which I've been doing for quite a long time, just in this market. And now I'm gonna say, if you want to go tight, feel free to do so. Feel free to go minus 50, minus 60% on some of these hot runners, but just maybe don't risk as much as you would on your usual position size.
Got it. I'm trying to see if I can experiment a little bit with tighter ranges. Crime, yesterday we uncovered a new strategy. Would you like to share that with the MCG audience? Because this is one that I'll probably be doing a lot. It's probably going to be like my main strategy I'll run from this point forward.
Are you talking about the what's it called?
The bid ask spot.
Mix? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can share this.
I love a good bid ask spot.
Did Chill tell you about that, Josh, or did you just...
No, I usually I like the old spot curve, spot and then add it the fees into the curve side.
Okay. So I can show you guys real quick. If you guys were not previously aware, you can make hybrid curves. So what that means is basically Chill yesterday was like, yeah, so like Crime, I like going like spot a lot. Like when I go bid ask, it just doesn't feel like I get too much in fees. And he's like, so I just like, I've been really enjoying spot more. And I was like, well, we had been continued talking. He's like, well, what do you mean you can go like bid ask and spot? So when you are entering a position, if you don't want to go entirely spot or entirely bid ask, what you can do is choose either one of them. You can go spot or bid ask to initially open your position. You can open your position. So we did bid ask at the beginning. Now, if we want to modify this curve, we can put in 0.1. Now, like, you would have to go to the position again, right? This is the bid ask position we just created.
Real quick, just to kind of give the audience a little bit of context, you see on the right side of that curve, it starts with smaller bars and goes bigger.
Ooh, I see what you guys are doing.
The bid ask, the thing is, the thought is that on a pullback, we don't know, in more risk on market conditions, we're not guaranteed minus 50 or minus 70, 80, 90% drawdowns. sometimes like an unk would happen where it comes down just a little bit and then it continues on to rally. And so with bid ask, you really only get the most value out of the strategy if it goes deeper in your range. So really you need to be able to like accurately draw out that range to get the most value out of bid ask. So that's why I was doing spot, because I get more exposure earlier in the strategy, because spot is equal DCA ins as it goes down, whereas bid ask, it starts small and gets larger. So I was trying to see how could I get more exposure at the top side of the range, and that's what Crime is about to explain here.
Exactly. I guess
If I understand it, you get some immediate kind of spot in, but you still get the benefit that the meat of your liquidity is further down the
Correct.
curve. Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly. And in most cases, I know I was completely spot on that other one, but in most cases, it doesn't really, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily make sense for you to go 100% spot. Like if you're doing a long-term pool, like thinking about like trading in general, like you want most of your you would rather size in most of your size towards the bottom of the range. So even if you want like initial exposure, it still helps to have some of your liquidity stacked towards the bottom just to protect your average. Um, but I guess I could have explained that a little bit better. I forget nowadays. But yes, when you're doing bid ask at the beginning, at the beginning of the price, right? This is the range right here. Towards the tip of this, we're going to have very little of our liquidity converting to the token. So if it comes down and just hangs around here, it's only going to be hitting this little tip and it's not going to be getting very much in fees. So if you want to adjust that and make it a little bit more, make it so you have more exposure towards this front part of the range, you can go ahead after you create your bid ask, and then you can layer on whatever you want. And this would be a 50-50. I'm putting in 0.1 sol bid ask, 0.1 sol spot. So now this is 50-50 sol, 50-50 bid ask, and you can see how it kind of like chunks up more. There's more of a body here that is going to ensure that we are getting that spot exposure early on, but also you have it kind of tapering to more size towards the bottom here still. So that is definitely something, if you have been using Meteora and haven't done that, you can go ahead and experiment with that. And I was telling Chill, it's like a lot of the time if I'm doing a hybrid, I'll go like 20% spot, 80% bid ask. But it really depends on what your thesis is of the token. Like if you think it's not going to dump super hard, you can go more spot. If you think it's going to dump kind of hard, you can go 20% spot, 80% bid ask, but you can just, get kind of creative with that.
I like the shape a lot, actually. I'm going to do this. So what do you set up first? Like, how do you get both them in there? You set up bid ask and then add liquidity to it?
You can do either. So you can do bid ask to open it, or you can actually do spot and then add bid ask. So that last time we entered the bid ask position first, but if we go spot here, create this pool and then go in here, then you can add in the bid ask on top of this one. So either one works. You can open the bid ask first, you can open the spot first.
Got it.
Yep. And also like you can make really like any shape. Like if for some reason, not that I would typically do this, but if you wanted to do a more spread out curve position, you could do half spot, half curve, something like that. So it just gives you the ability to customize and really make like whatever distribution of liquidity you want.
Got it. So I think that was perfect. We got the new strategy down. We got a couple of your plays. You have a kind of better understanding of how we can play wider ranges, maybe how we can lower those ranges to make it tighter. So I think this was solid here. This is a great segment. I definitely want to keep getting you back on the show, Crime. Josh, did you have any other Any other questions? I think I'm good, but and I know we answered some community questions, but let me know if you have anything else.
No, I'm good. Yeah, just to wrap my strategies, I'll keep an eye on this. I don't know if there's any like rug risk with Unk with the guy holding 40%. If he clips
I
that
mean,
out in
there is
one
a
candle.
risk. There is a risk there, but that, you know, he also tanks his reputation. If he by disclosing he holds 40%, then he's kind of like um so here's the other thing. I don't think he will, but it like by generating so much hype around, they're calling this the airdrop meta. You can actually farm the FOMO app fees, the FOMO app airdrop, and you can even farm your ref link on FOMO by doing this like strategy. So I don't know if you guys know about income, but I was actually looking at that yesterday with Crime. We were looking at income, and basically the chart was absolutely sweet. I ended up like spot trading in and out of that one for some quick scalps because it had it had really good volume. But basically, the guy that created this, his name is Kilowa. Chad guy, like goated trader. Like you guys should check him out. He runs something called Phantom Troop, and they've caught pretty much anything that moves on chain. Like this is basically like a group of like 20-30 guys that are perpetually online, like 18-20 hours a day, and they catch like anything that breathes, they see it. So goated guy, but he basically I believe anyway launched this token and kind of ran the same strategy, but what's coming out of it is he's airdropping people, but through this strategy, he's able to like number one, bring attention to his FOMO. So there's more followers, more people following his FOMO account. He can farm fees from his FOMO ref link. So if you want an airdrop, use my ref link and sign up on FOMO. And then 3, you're also farming the FOMO airdrop as well because you're using the FOMO app. So it's almost like this like huge opportunity that not many people actually realize. I don't think a lot of people know that they can do this, but you know, it is something that's happening and it's kind of bringing a little bit more attention. So I say all of that to say, Josh, there is a risk for rugging, but there's more upside to not doing that. Because you know, essentially Unk is the one that started all of this, and if he continues to do the right thing, then you know he can continue farming all the airdrops and all the ref links fees. He can do all of that. So
We'll monitor the situation, Crypto Jones. I appreciate you looking out for my port. It's still printing right now. I like what man, deal lemming has like changed my whole outlook on trading crypto, honestly.
It definitely does. It definitely has a good way of doing that. But Crime, it was great to have you on. It's been about an hour. We want to respect your time, brother. We want to have you back on.
Also, it's the weekend. It's the weekend,
Yeah.
so have a great weekend too.
Of course. I'm gonna
guys,
be locked in.
Yeah, he's all weekend locked in. But guys, I put the TG link for the MCG TG here. I'll leave that pinned, but I'm also going to tweet it out. It's good for the next 24 hours. So as you know, we always have a link that disappears. Usually it's after a couple hours. Today I'm going to set it up for 24 hours. We're going to forward from Crimes TG, from Doms and Chills. Now the market's heating up a little bit. Different plays to that, and I think producer Chill here is trying a few screen setups, but yeah, guys, we're gonna start putting some calls in there now that things are running. Thanks, Chill, for PV. I do appreciate that. I printed off this, so. But
anytime, bro. We're out here locked in. We don't run a trading show, and we're not like. We're actual traders is what I'm trying to say. We don't do this show just like talking about markets just for the sake of being a talking head. We're doing that because we're actually in the arena. We're out here and we're printing.
Man in the arena.
That's
right.
That's all it is. That's all it is. So, you know, if you're in my TG, you see me at work. If you see me on Twitter, you follow me on Twitter, you see me at work. You know, I do this. I really do this. You know, not I just do it just to do it. Like I'm actually out here. But Crime, a pleasure, brother. We'll see you next time. And if you're open for a few minutes, maybe after stream, we can catch up a little bit.
Stay
Yeah.
on. We'll end it here and then just hang on.
For sure.
All right, guys.
Real quick, Josh. Real quick. All right, deuces, Crime. Appreciate you.
Peace, guys.
Yeah.
So
stay
real quick,
stay in the
Josh.
waiting room here. Don't. Yeah.
Don't. Yeah, perfect.
leave.
All right, cool.
All right.
So real quick, the chat wanted us to check out a few things. So
right,
I'll just speed through and we'll try to get done with this in maybe like 2 to 4 minutes. So we talked about the PVE trade, guys. That went pretty solid. Let's look at just a few other things. First, let's see, deck screener here. Dude, I'm watching this. Me and Crime, we were watching this peptide trade. I actually might get DLMM. I might deal him this. Gosh, I can't say DLMM. I might deal him this. But it's kind of peeking out of this range. So we'll see if I decide spot or deal him on that. We talked about the PVE trade. We talked about that as well. Let's see here. So I am on a mission, and Friv, if you're watching this, this is a clippable moment right here. I am watching What the Dog Doing. It is coming down to my buy zone, and I'm going to use What the Dog Doing to print one of the largest P&Ls that you've seen in DLMMing history. So, I think a part of DLMMing is you're able to hold with conviction for a long time. And while you're holding that spot position, it's not just, being held in your wallet. You can actually farm fees on top of that. And so if this actually goes back deeper into the buy zone, like let's say we revisit like sub 2 mil, I'm literally spot / bid ask hybrid flip DLMM, and I'm just in until 100 mil. And I'm just I'll be farming all the way up. So that's the plan, to print one of the largest P&L.
Is What the Dog Doing this cycles with?
Could be. Look, it's showing signs. If you look here, let's take a look. Minus 90%, minus 82% right there. That's minus 82%. That's another minus 65%. And right now we're sitting on minus 65% again. If we go to my sub 2 mil zone, we'll be minus 70%. The characteristics of any good meme coin are pullbacks. Pullbacks price out weak hands. They make sure that anyone that doesn't believe jumps ship. And so I'm a big believer in What the Dog Doing. We've been covering this for a long time. As you guys see, I have the pivot point and the discovery candle there. So as you know, that's discovery. This little red candle, that little down candle there where the buy zone is marked out, that's the pivot point on the chart, and we've revisited that twice so far, but looks like we might revisit it again. And if we do, yeah, this could actually be a pretty insane cook. And I do think that it's going to be one of the larger plays this cycle. It's a Chinese meme, and it's literally seeping into the world. So something for us to keep an eye on there. I think you guys wanted me to check out Repo. So we'll do a quick review of that. Two things, a couple things to note here on, and then I got some base alpha for you guys as well before the stream is out. Something to leave you guys with before we head out for the weekend. Our Cyber Ren call doing very, very nicely, holding very nice here. So we've been in since sub 1 mil. We're up about 50% so far on that one. Cyber Ren looking good. Basically got the follow. The account has gotten the follow from everyone on the VVV team, the Venice team, for Eric Voorhees. So him, his wife, the CTO, and their top engineer, they all follow the Twitter account. And Eric was the first one to actually follow this as well. So that's the alpha, kind of some lore behind it. Let's see. Wow, Repo looking very nicely. We've been covering the bounce off this zone here every single time for Repo. And we've covered their user stats and their metrics as well. So Repo is looking very nicely. When I checked yesterday, it's at like 5 mil, but looking insanely good on this bounce. And you know, they have insane user retention rates as well. And serve is looking nice. I know Game is in that one. He's probably happy with that. And lastly, um, there was something else. What did I want to point out to you guys? That's what I wanted to point out to you guys. Litcoin. Let's take a look at this real quick. Now, um don't be too thrown off by the name, but this is actually some pretty deep alpha. And this is the last thing that I'll cover, and then we'll leave you guys to enjoy the weekend. But let's see. I actually had a few tweets saved on this. Let me pull that one up real quick. If you're in my TG, you know already a little bit about that. But here's the tweet. Okay, so instead of traditional mining, the platform uses AI agents to solve real problems. The agents pull tasks from multiple sources, generate code, test solutions, and get rewarded based on actual improvements. The key difference is that the mining here is actually productive. Code gets written, contracts get audited, data sets get built, everything that works gets verified, stored. And that means that the system is constantly building a public knowledge base over time. So you're able to stake to boost your rewards. And if you were following in the game TG, he also mentioned that this is probably he said that, and I quote, forgot to add from one of their latest posts, and looking at the live numbers, they are on track to become one of the largest verified code generation data sets in existence. So it's, from what I understand, it's a hybrid of Pig and Tau. And it's, sitting with 3 million verified submissions, 61 AI models, 16 research data sets. And so it's using AI agents to sort of solve real problems. And it not only mines tokens, but you can also advance AI research. So very interesting protocol here. And again, you see this candle, it's up in the last 24 hours. Nice little discovery candle there, or a mini discovery candle. But that's what I'll leave you guys with, man. Things are going well. The portfolio is growing on the DLMM side. I saw some of you guys were talking about UNC in the chat as well. I marked out the full range on UNC. Did that as well. As you can see, I told you guys that this was going to form some sort of discovery candle. You see the pivot point here. Probably shows up a little bit better on the 2 hours. Nice. But the pivot point here, and set the bottom of the range just below that pivot point. From the top to the bottom, we're just farming here on UNC. And so the reversal should do us well. Doing really good on the 5 to 50 soul challenge here, guys. So we'll update you guys with that on Monday. But outside of that, we have Bitcoin at 77.3K on the day, looking very good. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Onchain is heating up, so definitely take advantage of the green candles. But keep in mind that it's not a new bull market. Stay frosty, guys. Appreciate your time. Appreciate all the love. Hit us up. Follow at MCG Live for all things MCG related. We'll be posting the next week's schedule over the weekend, so stay tuned for that. But we appreciate you guys. Love you guys. All the best with your trading.